Welcome, everyone, to another episode of An Interview with My Best Friend. I'm Hayden, your host, and also co-hosting today we have...
Josh. Hi. Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I'm still trying to get my bearings. It's early for me to be talking in a podcast. Hi, I'm Josh, your host of An Interview with My Best Friend. Co-hosting is Hayden. Today we have a lovely guest for you all. Give a very, very warm Pacific Northwest welcome to Julia.
Hi. This is where I clap myself like, yay,
Yes,
welcome, Julia.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast or if you're watching it and you're not clapping right now, pause the video and clap. And then when you're done, you're allowed to play it again.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not clapping, what's wrong with you?
Well, so Julia and I were just talking about how this is the most, we've just spent like the last 20 minutes catching up, but it's the most amount of time I've ever heard her speak English because I met her when I was in Spain living there. And when I was living there, she didn't want to speak English to me because I was there to practice Spanish. And so I would say like 99% of our correspondence is like in Spanish.
We're going to break into that 99% on this.
Oh yeah, big time.
That pie chart is just going to get a bit bigger on the English portion of it.
Yeah. But no, it's really cool because I'm like, and then for those wondering, this is the same Julia who I was on her podcast. So now we are super excited to have her finally on our podcast. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you for inviting me, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming.
Exciting. Feel like a celebrity.
You are a celebrity, honestly. Like, we've been hyping you up so much on the pod.
I
know. I'm glad we finally made this happen. Do you remember when we were in Spain and, like, any time that we would go out to a restaurant, like, the waitress or waiter or whoever, they would speak English back to me when I would try to order something in Spanish. Do you remember that? Because that was like one of the most frustrating things for me when I was living over there.
I don't
look at this American.
It's not like that. It's not that they don't think you're able to speak Spanish or anything. I think it's because we all want to practice our foreign language. It's like an opportunity for them, maybe. And I don't remember specifically when you were having this experience, but I remember me being outside, like when I went on my Erasmus, and it was a bit of the same. I went to France on my Erasmus, and I was trying to speak French, and people were trying to speak like a very broken English. And I was like, no, I want to speak French. I do speak French. Let me speak French. But I think it's worse for the English speakers for sure, because when I was there, then again on my Erasmus, I made a couple of friends from the United States, and they were so sick and tired of people talking to them in English. They're like, we're living in France for a year. We want to practice our French. Yeah. And the French people were like, no, we will speak English, even if you don't want to.
I feel like it is a lot worse in France. I remember when I was in France. When I was in France.
When I was over there in France.
Dang nabbit. When I was over there, I think virtually everyone spoke to me in English. Because, they look at me, I'm clearly not French. And I'm clearly not French either. So...
Good point. You definitely are not French.
So, yeah, it was super bad over there. They would just they saw me, they'd like hone in. They're like, aha, yes.
Yes, an American.
I'm coming for
Dirty
you.
American acquired.
Yeah. So,
by the way, is this podcast one of those episodes in which we cannot say
Oh, we stopped that.
Yeah, we stopped.
Oh, you stopped that. Okay.
So
because
we were getting way too in the hole.
I feel like we also didn't really address it, except I think we might have on Twitter. I don't think we've like canonically like addressed it in the podcast, but we said that we were going to donate $1 to charity every time we said
That was way too high. You were
yes,
shooting for the stars there.
We really were, because I calculated the amount of times we said just in the first episode we said 180 times.
Yeah.
And so
when I listened to the first
penny
episode
every time.
Yeah, that would make much more sense, because the first time, like when I was listening to your first episode and you said you were going to donate $1, I was like, no, they're going bankrupt.
Nope. Yeah, we're not millionaires, so that's a bad idea for us.
And I mean, the idea is really fun, but very high price, I'd say.
And at that time, everything with BLM was still very much alive. So I did donate. I kept true to my word. I donated $180 to one of those organizations that supports BLM and fights for, basically gives funding for people who need money for their court cases or to make bail on, charges that aren't actually like legitimate. Like essentially people that are arrested just for protesting, things of that nature. So, but I did do that for that first episode, but then after that we were like, this is not sustainable, because by the time that we had like started the podcast, I had commissioned artists to draw, sketches for us, logos for us, banners for us. And so we were, by the first episode, by the time it was a full wrap, and then plus like recording equipment and everything, we were already like, I want to say $1,000 down on the podcast. And I was just like, this is fine, but we need to slow our roll a little bit.
Yeah.
need to pump the brakes just a touch.
And then I think somewhere around like the middle of last season, we had our first donation from our friend Austin, who so graciously donated $5 to the podcast. So now we're
making the money back.
Now we're $995 down on the podcast, but we can do it. I believe.
I believe in us.
Once again, we're so close to the 100,000 people that we need on Instagram to post links. Guys, just make sure you all go to Instagram, like our page, and follow.
Yeah, we've been posting on Instagram. We figured out how to be influencers somewhat. Not total boomers. I've actually been on an Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat hiatus for the last week. So I have no idea what Josh has been doing with the accounts. But I'm sure
over the world.
I'm sure they're fantastic. I've just been taking a little break. But yeah, so I'm tired of talking about our podcast. So I'll just very smoothly transition into our first question. Julia, what motivated you to start your podcast?
I love talking. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But basically, my idea for my podcast was stopped by the pandemic, like so many other things. Because when I was thinking about making this podcast was in January 2020, right? January 2020. And I was thinking, because at that moment I was living in Geneva. And I was like, I miss my friends. I'm so alone. Because, moving to another country, it's always hard in the social aspect. So I was thinking about my friends of both Salamanca, which is the city where I studied, and my hometown. And I was thinking, I have so many interesting conversations with them and I miss them so much. And at the same time, I was starting to listen to podcasts while I was commuting. So I was thinking, why don't I make a podcast like with my friends? Because we talk about, this is going to sound a bit selfish, but like we talk about very interesting things. So I was thinking they might translate well into a podcast format. So like with, not in an interview way, but on a, let's talk about this as we would be doing in our normal time, but with a microphone. So that was my idea. My idea was to buy the microphone, and when I would come back home on March to, meet my friends and start recording episodes. But then, boom.
The funniest thing happened.
The funniest. So I was like,
you won't believe what happens next.
So I was like, okay, this is not what I expected. So I kind of reorganized the way of making my podcast, and I discovered I like talking to a microphone by my own. I don't really mind. Obviously, I'd rather be with someone else in a either interview or as we're doing right now, right? But sometimes I feel very deeply about something, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk for 20 minutes about this crap, and I'll post it, and I hope someone else finds it mildly interesting. So yeah, that was the idea. And also for myself, I wanted to have like with social media we have so many photos, and we have our memories documented, right?
For sure.
And we can go back, in our Instagram profiles or whatever, and be like, hey, remember that trip we made to blah blah blah, and but I thought I want to have that for myself, but with conversations, because I cannot go back to the conversations I had with my friends in university. What if I record them? So that is kind of the idea.
Yeah, because we used to talk about some really crazy shit when we were in college. Like I remember sitting at the Puente Romano out there on the Roman bridge, and we would just like sit there and talk for like hours. It was great. It's kind of like the same thing with our podcast, to be honest. Like Josh and I just realized like we're best friends, but we like never talk because
that's a problem.
Yeah, because we're just like, oh, the other person's busy. It's fine. Yeah. And then when we do catch up, we catch up for like hours, and we're like, we should just put a freaking microphone in front of our face.
Yeah,
might as well record it.
Yeah, if you have like it's not a task, but you have like a episode programmed. It's like, okay, now we find the time for a conversation, because as you said, like I'm busy or I'm lazy or whatever, and just friendships need to have some routinary contact for them to be alive.
Yeah, for sure. I do think it is funny though, because you mentioned that yours is kind of not like an interview, but I think that just from my perspective, your podcast definitely felt like more of an interview than ours does, because ours is literally called an interview with my best friend, but we don't interview anybody.
Yeah, it should have been like a random talks with my best friend.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas yours is like, today's topic is this, and like you have a very like structured, like I think so there's like two
structured
things.
Format.
Yeah. I think there's like two main things that we could really learn from your podcast. One is like structured episodes. And then two is like you said, nah. And then two is like
structure. We don't have structure.
If it's not your vibe, it's not your vibe.
Two is like you said, oh, you just like talk to the microphone for 20 minutes. Josh and we can't do that. I wish we could, but like I just don't. I don't know. Maybe that's something we'll have to work on, where me and Josh will just sit down for like, I don't know. We'll put a time limit on it or something. Like maximum 25 minutes.
I mean, like
25 minutes.
If long episodes is your style of podcasting, that's also perfectly fine,
Yeah, we've gotten like mixed feedback. We try to keep them around an hour.
40 minutes to an hour is what we normally try to keep them at.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to set a timer, Josh, so I hope you
got it.
Crap.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're the best. Oh my god. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that's perfectly like I assume a lot of people kind of like come to that conclusion when they start a podcast. It's like they're just like, I want to have like especially like people who don't do like podcasting for a living, because those people who do like actually make like really good money off of their podcasts probably didn't have the intent of, I want to like keep these conversations like locked down as more or less memories that I can go back to. But like for like you and for like us, I know that that's like a big aspect of us doing this, is just so we can keep like these talks that we have with our friends and stuff like that for years down the line, when we're reminiscing on being young and dumb and making a podcast.
I think that's the
also
that's the
bold of
charm
me too
for me.
Yeah, bold of me to assume that Hayden and I won't be doing this into our 40s. Eventually we'll get big.
We already said we're gonna have 23 seasons, so I mean,
yeah, but we're gonna
23?
probably have 3 seasons this year. So
well, so last week we had a guest on, and we definitely jumped the gun, and I just like threw out a random number, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll have him back on season 23 as a special guest. I just like threw out a random number out there, and then it was like, well, shit, now I guess we have to have 23 seasons.
Now you have to do it.
We have to. We set it in stone. So
I mean, we have almost 2 now. So like, what?
That's true.
What's stopping us?
You're going really fast, because for me, I only finished my 2nd season last month, I think it was. So, but I'm taking it slowly. Like I basically record when I want to and when I feel to, and that's it.
We were demanded to do weekly posts of our show. We were doing every other week, and then we got pressure to do it every week. So here we are.
Yeah,
nice. Just like as you said, that some people are professional podcasters and they make a shit ton of money. I don't know if I could do it. Like sometimes I think, could I do that? Could I be could I have one of those very creative jobs? And I don't think so, because I think that for me it would take the fun out of it. Like,
that's fair.
Like with YouTubers, I'm like, how do they do that? How do they come up with so many ideas and things for, I don't know, every single week or every 2 weeks? I would be so tired. I like to do these things for fun and not to have the pressure of I have to do that, because if I don't, the algorithm will punish me and I will have no visits and I will have no money to pay rent. So I don't know how they manage that kind of stress.
I would love to have like this as like a full-time job while also like doing Twitch and stuff, but that is very, I think, like, just for me, unrealistic, because I think I would get like burnt out on it.
Yeah. Plus it's very volatile,
Yeah.
As soon as it becomes, so it's volatile for a whole slew of reasons. Like, one, you have to stay in the public eye, you have to keep people's interest. And then just personally, it's like you said, like you would get burnt out. As soon as it becomes an obligation, you're less motivated to do it. And I think that's why, me and Josh are going to have to see if this weekly upload kind of thing is sustainable, because it's like we're toting the line between obligation and still having fun. At least I would say. I don't know how Josh feels. But yeah, there's so many factors that roll into that. And it's just like, I don't know, Josh and I made $5 off the podcast and we're like losing our minds, but like that might be the only $5.
So that's already an achievement.
And that might be the only $5 we ever make. And that's totally fine, because like we're not doing it for the clout or the I just want to talk to Josh every week and spend time with friends. Like, and if people want to listen to that, that's it. We talk about this every single episode. I feel like how it just blows our minds that like anyone is like, yes, I'm going to physically
sit down for an hour and listen to these 2 idiots talk.
I'm going to get out my cellular device and I'm going to listen to 2 dudes talk with their friends. Like, this just blows my mind every time,
Everybody settle in for an hour to listen to the 2 white men talk to each other.
Such a refreshing content.
Yeah. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before. It's so groundbreaking.
Moving on to the next question.
Let's forget about that.
Let's get this ball rolling a little bit more. So Julia, pretty much everybody that's listened to this already has a pretty good grasp of what Hayden and I do for fun, like outside of the podcast, whether that's like D&D or
D&D
or D&D. Outside of like doing your podcast, like what else do you do for fun? Like,
I'm such a basic bitch. Like, I don't think this question is going to be very interesting, because it's like I'm a white, middle-class, feminist, left-winged queer woman. What I'm going to do for fun? I bake, I do yoga, I have my podcast. It's like, what else? I have all my badges for basic Gen Z person.
I see we have basic white woman bingo.
Yeah.
Today on the podcast, I learned that I'm a basic white woman. Because that's literally.
Good job, Hayden. I'm so proud of you.
Hey.
I mean, to be honest, I think that my hobbies are quite healthy. I don't bother anyone else. So It's not like I go, I don't know, shooting animals. Oh, Jesus, fuck. Sorry. It's just that my walls are paper thin. And I think my upstairs neighbor dropped something really loudly.
Oh, yeah. We heard that. Well,
sorry.
Now your neighbor's on the podcast. Welcome, neighbor.
Welcome, Julia's neighbor, upstairs neighbor, to the podcast. I'm glad we can have you here. Just as a question, Mr. Neighbor Person, what do you do for fun?
Apparently, drop things.
Drop things.
I drop things, and I do like work out at midnight when everyone is trying to sleep. I also shout at 5 a.m., but that's just some days for fun when I'm feeling spicy.
For funsies.
Do they really shout?
Yeah, like
they let it all out.
Like, I don't know, like at least 2 days a week, they scream at each other at like 6 a.m, and I don't have to wake up until 7. So I'm like,
that's healthy.
Wow.
Sounds like a healthy relationship.
But to be honest, like this building is so badly built that I suppose that my downstairs neighbors say the same about me, even if I make an average amount of noise. So, it's not us. It's British people don't know how to build buildings.
What if they complain about you, but it's for all the right reasons? It's like, we never hear our downstairs neighbor. Like, are they even alive? Or like, what is up with our downstairs neighbor? They're always baking these amazing smelling cakes and pastries and whatnot, and they never share.
Maybe that's what they're shouting about in the morning.
You know, one time, okay, this is the first time I publicly talk about this, but one time when I was living in my old apartment in Salamanca, I was crying, and I was crying really loud. I don't know what I was going through, but I was not having a good time. And it was like midnight, and I was crying, literally crying myself to sleep. And suddenly, my neighbor bangs on the wall, like, "Shut up!"
Oh my God.
That's terrible.
I know. I felt so embarrassed because
my God.
I don't know. I've had parties, like not very wild parties, but some parties in my apartment, nobody complained. I don't know, played music, nobody complained, and I'm just crying on my misery, and this man bangs on the wall, and I was like, I stopped crying immediately. I was so shocked. So thank you.
So he helped.
Ex-neighbor. Yeah.
There we
Former
go.
neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Former neighbor, if you're listening, I want you to know, thank you.
But yeah, those are my hobbies. And I also, when I was listening to your podcast about D&D, I want to go back to, well, I didn't do D&D. I did another type of role play.
Yeah.
You say
role playing. Yeah.
I did like a party. Did you say party? I like so many vocabulary in the D&D realm. I had this party with a group of friends, and it was really fun. We did a magical girl party.
Nice.
It was amazing, like Sailor Moonish thingy, and
amazing.
It was fun. But I don't know, we just stopped doing it because the guy that was like, the master basically started university and didn't have time enough, which is completely understandable.
That's the downfall to many a Dungeons and Dragons group is scheduling.
Yeah.
But I miss it. I miss, role play. It was really fun. So I want to get back to it someday soon.
Yeah.
I hope.
I love it. Obviously, we've talked about it
So many.
Yeah, no, we're not
talking
talking
about it too much on the podcast.
We're not going to talk about D&D in this episode. This is my episode.
This is Julia's episode. There's no D&D here.
All D&D players will be shot on sight.
If you're playing D&D right now, you better buckle up.
If you're playing D&D right now, why are you listening to this? Focus on D&D. Oh, Hayden has just gotten up and gave us the finger and walked away.
Okay, bye, Hayden.
Bye, Hayden. Oh,
no, he's back.
He's got a gun. It's a Nerf gun. He just shot me.
Ouch.
I think he shot me. He's on mute. He said something, but he's on mute, so I don't know what he said.
You just got shot.
Yep, that I thought so.
Anywho. I felt so threatened.
My friends and I had a Nerf War recently, so we all went and bought Nerf guns, and
delightful.
Yeah, we're children.
No, you are well-adjusted adults, is what you are.
I think it's cool that we still have, quote unquote childish hobbies, because I don't know about you, but I always see, okay, I know we're all adults in this podcast, but I don't feel like a fully developed adult yet. So
I'm 25. I'm also there.
Yeah.
I feel like older adults, like basically society wants us to have very adultish hobbies, and I'm like, what if I want to play D&D or play Nerf or
Wait, I'm sorry, did you just say play D&D? Are you a D&D player?
I will be shot. I'll shut up now. No, he's got the gun again. No.
No D&D in this podcast.
There's no D&D in this dojo.
So I also have a couple of questions for you guys, and I didn't.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh.
We're talking about hobbies and things like that, and something I really enjoy, but I haven't been able to go to because the pandemic. It's drag shows with drag queens and drag kings, and I love that. I basically did my my final dissertation for university about translating LGBT language in RuPaul's Drag Race. So yes, it's one of my interests, but I haven't been able to go to a live drag show because it's closed. But I was thinking, I don't know if you're into that, or if you have ever seen anything.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you're theater kids, right? So
yeah.
It's on your lane. So I was wondering, what could it be, your drag queen name or your drag king name? Because there's no gender for drag. So what would it be?
That is a good question. I need time to think, so I'm just gonna tell a story while I think about it, or just generally distract myself. So I went to my first. I went to my first drag show, like live drag show, because like I had seen RuPaul on the TV and whatnot, but I don't really think that counts.
Yeah.
I went to my first live one about 2 years ago. It was here in Hawaii, and my friend just kind of like, we just rolled up to it, and he was like, yo, you want to go to this drag show? And I was like, fuck it, why not? And holy shit, it was so fun. It was so fucking fun. I went up and I was like right in front of the stage, and I was totally unprepared, but luckily my friend was. He just hands me a fistful of $1 bills, and he was like, you know what to do. And I was like, oh shit, I do know what to do.
Amazing.
So here I am giving this drag queen $1 bills, and she's dancing and just lighting up the stage, and there, like, it was like a whole show. Like there was like multiple queens / kings, and it was so good. It was such a good time. And then after the show was at a club, so then it just went back to being a club. And then all the queens like came out, and they were like dancing with everybody and like taking pictures with people. And this was so there's some pictures of me with one of the drag queens. One of the ones that was my favorite. I'll have to like add it in the video, like maybe like right
for sure.
But this was right
over where Julia's audio thing is.
Yeah. This was right after I had gone to Rocky Horror.
Oh, cool. That I have seen.
Yeah. Really so fun. We went to Rocky Horror at a theater. And then right after that, we went to the drag show. So here's the thing. To Rocky Horror, I wore black leather booty shorts and leopard print 2-inch heels. And that's it. That's all I wore. And
no tie?
No tie. And lipstick. And then I changed into like normal people clothes. This was before my friend suggested we go to the drag show. And then so I was in like my Eastern Washington University t-shirt, like some shorts, and I was still wearing lipstick. And I kind of forgot that I was wearing it. So then I was like, oh, people probably like there were a lot of people trying to dance with me that night. And now I think I know why. I was like, this is kind of weird. I'm getting a lot of attention. But it's probably because I had bright red lipstick on.
Probably helped you out. Yes.
You know, red lipstick is always nice. So
it is. It's nice on anyone, really.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to go to a live drag show. But you know, when I started being interested on that was when I was in university and I didn't have time or money. Or also in my town, like in my university town, there were no drag shows whatsoever. So when I was like, yes, now I can go, everything closed. The Fire Nation attacked and everything closed. But yeah.
I've always like I've seen like a whole lot of RuPaul and everything like that. And it's always very I've always been very interested in it. I've never been to a live drag show though. I think it'd be a lot of fun to go to one. I think Spokane has them. I'm not sure. We're pretty red over here. So I don't know like if that's a thing out here. But I definitely want to look into it because that does sound like a really fun time. Also, I do have my name. It would be Majestic.
Love it.
I was just thinking about mine, and I don't know why this came to me. It just did. Like it just like popped up in my head. I think that my drag name would be Danny California. Like
California.
Lovely.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Oh, I was thinking about Robert California, the one in The Office. So I was really confused.
Yeah, so because I'm from California, his name is
Robert,
and that's a really good song. And it just kind of like popped in my head, and I was like, "Shit! All right, there we go."
There you go.
So,
well, mine, like my drag queen name would be Candy, like the name, like sweet, and the surname would be Diasis, because in Spanish, if you put together candidiasis, it's like a fungal infection of the lower parts. So I don't know. That's very fun to me. Because it's like candy diasis.
That's pretty
amazing.
Great. That's pretty great.
Yeah, and if I were a drag queen, a drag king, I think my name would be Bigaro, which for me sounds like very masculine and very mysterious. Bigaro. Okay. But it really means sea snail in Spanish.
Sea snail. Amazing.
Today I learned a Spanish word, sea snail.
To be honest, I don't know if it's Spanish like from all Spanish speaking countries or just my region, but we do have them in my region, so that's where we're going with.
Yeah. Drag king name. Oh man.
It can still be Danny California.
Honestly, like Daniel California.
Daniel California.
Mr. Daniel California.
There's a tie.
Yeah, it's the same. Everything is the same. I just wear a tie.
Cool.
Oh man, I didn't think of a drag king name, so I'm just gonna stick with the drag queen name. Cool. I'm just gonna be Majestic.
I mean, Majestic is majestic for everyone, so
yeah,
it's true.
We'll go with it.
Men can be majestic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Questions.
Questions. The next question. So for those who don't know, Julio lives in Scotland currently, which fucking fascinates me because I've never been to Scotland and I really want to go.
Scotland. Oh, me either.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really been able to travel around, so I feel like I'm not here.
Well, so maybe you'll be able to speak to this, maybe not. I guess we'll just have to see. So far, you know, in just your short 8 months, what's your favorite thing about living in Scotland?
Oh, okay. I really like my town because it's a small town and I like walking around and not having to, you know, take the bus or anything. But that also applies to my town in Spain, so it doesn't really count. I do like the weather. I know people are going to hate me for that, but you know, I do like the weather. I like that now it's June and in Spain everyone is like boiling because it's 35 degrees and here today we had a maximum of 17. It's Celsius. I don't know how to translate it to Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so 35 degrees Celsius. It's hot AF in Spain right now. It's probably like 90 degrees or so. And then 17, that's a lot more cool. I'd probably say it's between like 50 and 60 degrees.
I don't know. You do the math.
I could be wrong. I'm just going
it's like 62 degrees.
Boom.
Thank you, Google.
Boom. I was pretty close. I just go off of when I lived in Salamanca, and like I remember every day when I would walk to school, I would look at like there was this one like sign where it was like a digital sign and they had like the temperature on it, and I would always look at that sign, and because I had no idea what Celsius was, I was just like, oh yeah, it's 11 degrees today. That's
cold.
Great. That's fantastic.
No, but I do like the weather. And people are really nice. I mean, I've lived in a couple of different places around my university and well, a couple of working years. I think the nicest people I found has been either here or in Ireland, because the other two places I've lived in have been France and Switzerland. So you can imagine. I don't know. They're way meaner than here. So I don't know. Like I think people here are really nice and friendly.
So that's what I've heard about like the people in like Ireland and Scotland, is that they're very like they're just like more like kind of down to earth in a way. They're just a lot nicer and just kind of more real people. Like they just treat each other better. Because I work with a pharmacist who spent a year over in the UK when he was younger. And he keeps telling me, even though I hate that he keeps telling me, that when he was over in Scotland, he had just the greatest of times. And I'm like, shut up. I want to go there. Just stop talking about Scotland. I want to go over there. Do you not see all this red in my beard? I obviously have some Scottish descent. Come on.
No, they're very nice for real. I also like obviously the countryside and the landscape and all that. And I'm really lucky that the place, like the town I live in, is really close to forest and the hills. That's nice. So that's really nice, especially when we were in lockdown. If I had been in freaking London, I would have lost my mind, because here I would go outside and, you know, walk for a bit, even if I couldn't leave the shire, like the region. But yeah, I like it here. I mean, I like it better in Spain because all my loved ones are there, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I could take my friends and my family and my dog, the most important one, here, I think I would be as happy as in Spain. So
yeah.
Is there like a lot of hiking trails and can you just go out in nature? Is that like a normal thing to do?
Yeah, but I'd say that at least in my region in Spain, it is that way. I don't know. I feel like I also like this country because it really is very similar to my region in Spain, because I know that, you know, for my American people listening to this podcast, I suppose when you think about Spain, you think about the Mediterranean Sea and a lot of sunlight and flamenco and all that. But my region is on the north, and we have plenty of rain. We play bagpipes and we have cows. So very similar to Scotland. I
was like, that sounds like Scotland.
Yeah. Like Julia's region of Spain is pretty much like the Scotland of Spain. Really.
Yeah. Together with Galicia, Cantabria, and Euskadi, which are the northern regions, I'd say, like obviously culturally we're Spanish, and obviously it's way warmer than right now here, but it feels like home in a way. Like when I hear bagpipes, I'm like, hey, it feels like home. So it's not such a culture shock. For example, I have a coworker, she's from Andalusia, so like from the south of Spain, and she absolutely hated the weather, hated everything. She's like, this is too foreign, I don't like it. Well, myself, I think I feel more at home here than if I was in the south of Spain, which is really crazy to say.
That is really funny.
You don't really strike me as like the beach goer type all that much.
I do like going to the beach, but
But like every day?
No. I would get so bored. So bored.
Because I feel like I have a friend who lives in Alicante. So he's just like, I go to the beach like every day. I'm like, checks out.
So boring. No.
You too.
I mean, I'd go once a week.
When you're in Hawaii, like what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I would love to live there. I like living here. I feel like it's funny because I grew up in San Diego, and now I'm in a place that's very much like where I grew up. And so now it's kind of like parallel to and then Josh, you need to get out of Spokane. Like
I do.
What's in Spokane to do or to see or to what's like? I know nothing about Spokane. I just know that
it's a great question. It's
from
a great question.
Start a podcast, play D&D.
What is there to do in Spokane? Well, that's got all the answer I have for you. Hayden said, start a podcast, play D&D. Oh God, feel like I'm gonna get shot now.
I feel like everything in Spokane you can see in one day, honestly. Like everything of note. Like
pretty much.
You got the clock tower, the famous clock tower, which is right across the street from that like big like what the fuck is that thing? It's like
I don't even know.
It's like
all downtown. It's foreign to me.
Yeah. Everything downtown you can see, and like it's all right across the street from one another. It's like the mall, the clock tower, that big thingy that lights up, and it's really big. It's like a tent.
I think it's the pavilion.
Yeah, it's a pavilion, but it doesn't have like a roof. Like it's just open air. It's kind of weird. And then there's a river, the waterfall, and then that's it. You see it all.
Like I'll always be like happy that my like family moved out here from Iowa, because I mean it's infinitely times more interesting than Iowa.
I didn't even know where Iowa is, to be honest.
It's the middle of the United States. All there is corn. That's all there is.
Oh yeah, you talked in the podcast about you wearing what's
overalls,
the name?
Yep.
Overalls, yeah. And eating corn and just doing American things.
But at the same time, like I would love to just move to like coastal Oregon even. Because I want to get out of Spokane so badly.
I think you should.
I don't want to work in a pharmacy for the rest of my life, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Maybe like, I don't know, I would say like take an Erasmus, maybe get out of the country, or even like locally just do like, I don't know, do some traveling to go to school. That's what I would do, because you never know. But I think it's really funny that Julia said doing American things. That kind of lines up with, so Julia, I wanted to ask you, as someone that's outside of the US, what is your general perception of the US?
Oh, you're not going to invite me to the podcast anymore.
Oh no, we will, because we probably shared about the same outlook on the US.
I have a feeling that we have a like pretty similar opinion.
Okay,
yeah,
I've never been to the US, okay? So I might be super wrong, but just from European or Spanish or my point of view, I feel like there's the coast with New York, and then the coast with California, and then Hawaii, and then Alaska, and then the middle is just a blob with like a lot of country, like really flat countryside, people shooting guns, a lot of like chain restaurants like Krispy Kreme, I don't know, well, McDonald's is obviously, and there's Walmart, a lot of guns again, and then you have the Colorado Canyon. Oh, and in Florida there's a lot of gators in Florida, which is really cool.
There's a lot of gators. Yep.
Yeah. And people in Florida are like, Florida is the Murcia of the US from Spanish point of view. So like the region we'll make fun of because they're a bit rednecky.
Yep. It's like the armpit of America.
And it's really like they have swamps, like Shrek.
Yep.
In Florida.
Just that whole southeastern part of the United States is just one big swamp.
Your listeners are going to hate me because, you know.
Probably not.
But and then what else? You know, a lot of political problems with racism.
I don't know if you've mentioned guns yet.
Maybe I forgot.
A lot of guns.
It just blows my mind that you can buy guns like at a store. It's so crazy.
At a Walmart.
Yeah.
Sake. What else? Yeah, there's a lot of people like okay, I don't want to be mean, but like I feel
let it rip.
I feel like in Europe we feel that people from the US are very stupid and like very ignorant. Like not stupid like in a not intelligent way, but in a blatantly ignorant and not willing to learn.
No, you are completely correct.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in this country who see a headline and that is how they base their personality for that.
But
day.
like, to be honest, in Spain, there's people like that as well. There's people like that everywhere.
I just feel because our education system is not great in this country either. Because we put a bigger emphasis on everybody has to have the same cookie cutter sort of education. And we have standardized tests, which are probably, I don't think are a thing over in Europe.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
What do you mean by standardized test?
So the United States has this thing where pretty much everybody has to take the same tests, and teachers like pay rates are based off of how successful or are based off of pretty much how successfully the students do on those tests. And so the teachers spend more time trying to get the kids prepared for those tests than they do teaching them anything of actual substance.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend, she did her, I'm not gonna name her in case she doesn't want to, you know, but un beso pa ella. Sending her kisses. She basically did her master's degree in West Virginia, and she finished a couple of months ago. She absolutely hated there. I mean, she really liked teaching, and she really, you know, liked their students and stuff. But she said that the education system is absolute crap, and people really don't like, the focus is not on them learning, but of them doing great on their exams, which is very different. So yeah, what else? As I was saying, I think the problem I have personally with the United States is that, you know, like for example in Spain, all the cultural products I get are either Spanish or from the US. So it's like you are exporting all your culture and all your products, but I'm not sure if any foreign products are getting imported. I don't know if I'm making this point clear.
No,
like
you're right.
You're right.
Like the movies and the books and I don't know, the YouTube channels I consume as a reader, as a consumer, are mostly Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Even saying American, you're not American, you're from the US. It's different, you know, but it's this cultural supremacy, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think also if you are from that country and all you're getting all you learn is, oh, we're great, we're the greatest country ever, and we only export, we don't import, that must be because we're the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing else outside for us because you know, we're not getting it. So I can understand the closed mentality of the America is the greatest because America is good, or whatever was that quote.
Like there was literal outrage. I think it was like last year. Oh, hi, bud. There was literal outrage when a foreign film won like best picture at the Oscars. It's like, why are we mad? Like, other countries make good movies too. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
We aren't the only place that makes movies. We're just the loudest place that makes movies.
So that's the thing. I think that from a European point of view, the US is super loud all the time.
Yes. Constantly. You're gonna slap me again, aren't you?
But,
I slap you.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you.
You know, there's ignorance everywhere. It's not an American thing. It's just very blatant because you're all the time there.
I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think that America has a like just so this is something that I think we might have touched on in your podcast. I don't really remember, but even just in the nature of the word America, because what a lot of people don't know is that America in the rest of the world refers to both North and South America.
Yeah.
But my country, the United States, has perpetuated this change in culture because we have like this monopoly over culture to where we're trying to get America to reference our country alone. And there's so much more to America, like in terms of the world, than our country.
Than the USA, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, even like it transcends because even in the English language, when you say, oh, he's American, you automatically know that he's from the United States. If you say that sentence, it's not like, oh, he's from somewhere on the two continents, which is what it would be in Spanish. Like if I said, yo soy americano, that I could be from anywhere. But if I say, yo soy estadounidense, then that's more specific. Like I'm from the United States. But it's perpetuated in the language.
We're getting the influence of English all the time. So right now, if you say soy americano, even if it means really I'm from anywhere in the whole freaking continent, we're going to think US because supremacy.
Yeah. And I definitely think that America perpetuates that just culturally because it's
because we're just so loud.
In a lot of ways, it's like it's an ignorance that isn't intentional. And then in a lot of ways it is intentional. And that allows for everyone else to just, maintain the status quo, which is why, anytime I talk to people about how culturally stupid Americans are, I'm like, the only people that try to tell me I'm wrong are people who have never left the country.
Great. That speaks volumes.
I got to start telling you that you're wrong because I've never left the country. You're wrong, Hayden. We're not culturally stupid. You're
starts playing the banjo.
Banjo noises intensify.
But like, to be honest, I think that also people from Spain and people from Europe, we are super ignorant when it comes to, I don't know, Africa. I know nothing about Africa. The only things I know about Africa is because I've done voluntary work with people from Africa. But like, if you ask me, where is, I don't know, Burundi, I have no idea where in the map it is, you know? So like we're all ignorant of what there is outside our
We all definitely
bubble.
have our blind spots.
Yeah, the problem is that America, in my, you know, from my point of view, the US, they are ignorant and they are not ashamed of their ignorance, or they don't really acknowledge they are. Because for me, I know nothing about Africa. I'm not going to be, I don't know, talking about it, you know? I mean, with you, I am, but in general, I don't know if I'm making my point across.
And I think the worst part about it is like, probably the majority of people who live in the United States understand that they are ignorant about a lot of things in the world, and like they do kind of like feel like ashamed of that. Unfortunately, the very, very loud minority of people who are America first and want that goblin as president again are just so much louder than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Josh said.
But I'd like to go to the US, like to travel there, obviously to visit you, but
yeah,
also to, you know, see it with my own eyes, because I feel like I don't know, especially places like New York, you see it all the time in the movies or in the whatever. So I feel like going there, is it going to feel like a movie set or is it going to feel like a real city? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was there a couple years ago. It was incredible. It was exactly like how it is in the movies. It was crazy. I would love to go back. I definitely think that, you know, I definitely think you should visit, not just for us, but just, you know, get that perspective. And I don't think that you'll be proven wrong when you do visit. You know, a lot of the things you said, they do exist. And I think that's why I have always maintained my philosophy on America. And it's that I love my country. I'm just not proud of it right now, you know, cause that's how I feel, you know, like I was born here. I was raised here. I love being a citizen in the US, but I'm just not proud of my country right now. And that's just how the world is right now. But I definitely think that there are ignorant people everywhere. I just also happen to think that too many of them are here.
Yeah.
And
something that shocks me about the US is that, how do I say this? I feel the country wants to be portrayed as modern, while it is much more traditional than, for example, Spain, in my case. Like, I feel like the image that wants to be shown is we're this amazing, technologically advanced first world country or whatever. And then people are still using the Bible like to testify and things like that, you know? Like swear, how do you say that? Swearing on the Bible? Yeah, swearing on the Bible. So it's like, there's so many contradictions for me,
which is hilarious, because according to like the more or less rules for like being sworn in, you get sworn in on a fucking like D&D player's handbook if you wanted to.
Boom.
Which I would if I were elected to Congress. This is actually my
he's got the gun.
I am going to now formally announce that I will be running for Congress. Thank you. No, God, no.
Oh,
I shot myself.
Shot the camera.
I shot the camera and it rebounded and I shot myself. So
that's what you get.
You know, just another American, you know, shooting a gun with nothing new here.
Just your average day in the US.
Okay. Julia, I do have one final question.
Okay.
So unless you have another question for us, we'll just go into it.
I do have one, but
okay.
I don't know. It's not about America.
Mine is really dumb. So we should just go with yours. Yeah.
Okay. No, but I want to hear yours. Okay. My question is, if you could work in whatever you want, like it's not it doesn't have to be like a real job. It can be freaking dragon trainer. What job would you have? I know I don't dream of labor either. If I could, I probably would do nothing. But if you had to choose a way of living, because, you know, we live under capitalism, but it could be anything. It can be magical. It can be stupid, whatever. What would that be?
Dude, it would be like space exploration. Like, get out into space and just explore. Like, that would be so fucking cool.
Space is fucking cool.
Also,
it scares me. It's like too big. I don't know. It's like
it scares me less than exploring the ocean.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the ocean is super scary. Do you know that in my region, okay, I'm going to say the name of my region, it's Asturias, okay? In Asturias, we have a museum dedicated to the giant squid. And there's giant squids on display just for you to see.
Wow.
And
oh my God.
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
Well, like, so NASA, which, I mean, it was originally created to explore, like, the ocean and everything and, like, find everything down there. And then they quickly pivoted to, no, we're going to space instead. So I want to know what they found in the ocean that scared them so much that they're like, no, we got to get off this dust ball. Get us out. The
giant squid.
It was either the giant squids or they found a fucking megalodon or something down there that's still alive.
So scary.
Or they found Atlantis and then all the Atlanteans were like, hey, kindly fuck off.
kindly but firmly fuck off.
So if we're talking about dreams, I want to be paid to live in a castle and learn languages.
Nice.
Because
basically you want to be a monk.
Halfway there.
You want to be a medieval monk?
Yeah. But listen up. This is something that like gives me an existential crisis every single day that I'm alive. And it's that there are over 9,000 known and recognized languages in the world. And that fucking pisses me off so much because I will never be able to learn them all in my puny, tiny human lifespan. And I just
That's what translators are for.
I understand that, but I'm so angry that me personally, I'll never be able to learn all of them. And so if I could just live in a castle, have an above average or extended lifespan and learn languages and just like get paid to do that.
Cool.
That would be my dream. I would effectively just be the happiest person in the universe, but I know that that's not tangible. So here I am.
Then I would come back from space and tell you about all these alien languages that I learned.
And then I would shoot you. America.
Okay, so my dream job, right now I'm a translator, right? I translate from English and French into Spanish, which is pretty average. So my dream job would be to be an interpreter. Quick comment, if you don't know the difference between interpreter and translator, translators translate written words, so like written texts, while interpreters interpret people speaking, so like in a conference, for example. So I would like to be an interpreter between humans and other animals because I love animals.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I feel like people don't understand how important other animals are. Or, well, not important, but how valid. So maybe if people knew how much those animals are suffering, they wouldn't eat them. Yeah, I'm a vegan. Call me that bingo, that white woman bingo.
Check.
Yeah, but also I would like to be an interpreter between dogs and humans. Like the human would be like, why is my dog barking? And it would be like, I don't know, he's and talk to the dog and be like,
I could have you interpret why my cat's a jackass.
Yes.
I could find out what's really wrong with him.
So have you guys seen that YouTube channel where it's basically like these psychology like people, and they have like this series of buttons that they've set up on the floor, and the buttons have words associated. Yeah. And the dog and the cat can like talk using the buttons.
Yes.
That shit.
No, I've seen one.
Oh my God.
It's a woman who has like a husky or something like that, and the husky has like 20 buttons to press.
So this channel is like I think it's like a poodle mix of some kind, and this dog has like probably like 40 to 60 buttons on the floor, which is just insane. And one of my favorite episodes that I saw was there was like a dog barking out, like, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood, and the dog, like the poodle, I forget his name, he was like at the door listening, and then he goes over to the buttons and he was like, "Why dog angry?" And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this dog is like effectively like translating what the other dog is saying.
Oh my
god! Like,
God.
how do they do that? Because they don't have. I don't understand.
Well, because like dogs are able to understand like the things that we say after repetition. Like they're able to understand like those commands and everything. So they might be able to.
Yeah, but how do they get what the question is? That's what fucks me up, because the other things I can understand, like angry or dog, but the why?
It makes you wonder just how intelligent like dogs and like cats and stuff.
They're super intelligent. Like,
do you know that pigs are actually as clever as 3-year-old toddlers? And they have the same range of emotions that freaking 3-year-old toddlers. It's like crazy. I love pigs. They're one of my favorite animals.
Pigs are adorable.
That's insane. Well, as much as I would love to talk about animal psychology, I think we'll leave that for next season.
No, I want to know what the dumb question is, but we can talk about it after the podcast.
It was so stupid. It's just how many kilts do you have?
Oh, I have one.
Oh,
hey!
No way!
We did it, Reddit!
Okay, wait. So now I know we're a little bit over time, but it's okay. I have to know.
You can edit some parts that are not as interesting or whatever.
No, we're gonna leave it all in. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So when did you get your kilt? And
last weekend I went to Edinburgh for my birthday, and I went to this vintage secondhand store, and there were a couple hundreds of kilts, and I was like, whoa. I need a kilt. I cannot leave Scotland.
I'm in Scotland. I've been in here for 8 months now.
I know it's so dumb and so touristy to do, but at the same time I was like, I'm gonna look so badass with one of those. It's such a butch move, you know. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. Are
you trying to say butch?
Yeah, like butch lesbians.
Yeah.
Such a butch move.
Definitely butch.
Yeah, so I bought a kilt.
Totes butch.
And it's really cool. It's really warm, so I cannot really wait right now because it's super, super warm. Mm-hmm. But it's like green and blue and black, and it's really cool. And I'll show you a picture later.
Yeah, send me a picture. I'll put it right there.
No, I have to send you like a picture with a full outfit. So
oh yeah, no, for sure. Definitely.
And they're so difficult to wrap around you, because you have to wrap around you. The kilt is not like a normal skirt. So,
oh really?
That's you have to like belt, I don't know, thingy. But yeah, I have a kilt. Sue me.
Wow. You're like on your way to becoming fully Scottish.
You're an official Scotsman.
Yeah, you know, the only thing lacking for me is understand what they're saying.
I mean, we speak English as our first language, and we can't even understand them half the time. So if you can even get like
this is not to shade them, because I love their accent. I absolutely adore it, and I would love to speak English with that accent myself. But it's just crazy. Like I'm like this. What? Sorry, excuse me. But you know, I'm getting used to it. I understand it more than some months ago, so that's already an achievement.
Awesome. Well, hey, Julia, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It was a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad I finally met you.
Thank you for roasting us. It was well deserved.
I didn't roast you. I just roasted
as in Americans.
The other group of Americans.
The royal us.
You know, it's like we like to say on the podcast, if you're American, go to therapy.
Yep.
And
to be honest, if you're any human person, go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
Seriously.
Yes. That's going to be our merch. That's going to be our first merch for sure.
Yeah, we're going to put it on a t-shirt. It's going to be like, if you're reading this, and then on the back, it's going to say, go to therapy.
That's such a good idea, to be honest. I would buy that.
And Josh wants to do like a idea with the pocket. Like, what was your idea for the pocket?
Dude, I don't remember. I need to write these things down.
Yeah, we need to be better about this. So somebody in the comments, I don't know.
Somebody will know.
Yeah, somebody will know. Thank you. Reminder, if you post a comment or if you leave us a rate on Apple or Google, or if you retweet us, or if you comment on our Instagram posts for season 2, you'll be automatically entered to win one of 2 $30 Starbucks gift cards. Do they have Starbucks in Scotland?
Yes.
Okay, well,
I
see,
think so.
Everywhere.
Even if you're in Scotland, you can win. So those are the ways to enter. Thank you so much for your questions and engagement and for watching and listening. We love you.
You all have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.
Go to therapy. Bye.
Go to therapy. Bye.